Welcome back, and of course we are discussing today the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The current outbreak is caused by the Bundibugyo virus, which has spread across, of course, 6 provinces and is now one of the largest Ebola outbreaks ever recorded in the DRC. Now, for more on the recent developments in the DRC, we're delighted to be joined over the telephone by Dr. Magdy Adly, the Hospital Development Advisor from the Ministry of Health. Dr. Magdy, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time. Now, Doctor, let's talk a bit about the latest picture on the ground with the DRC, and we're seeing the acceleration of the Ebola outbreak. How is this coming along? Are we seeing any signs of stabilization in the numbers, or are the numbers still on the rise with more infections being reported?
Okay. As of 25th of August 2026, the Ebola situation in DRC is very serious and still expanding rapidly. And this outbreak is caused by, as mentioned, Bundibugyo Ebola virus. And this is a different Ebola species from Zaire Ebola virus, which is responsible for the most previous large DRC outbreak. The latest figures reported around 23 August are approximately 5,500 confirmed cases in DRC and approximately like 2,650 dead cases, giving confirmed cases fatality rate of about 48%, which is very high. Indeed. Fatality rate. In fact, this has now become the largest Ebola outbreak ever recorded in DRC, surpassing the 2018-2020 outbreak in confirmed cases. And this extremely rapid growth, as the WHO reports, is that more than 1,000 additional confirmed cases were recorded between 1 and 12 August alone, reflecting both improved detection and genuine expansion of transmission.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there is a vaccine situation complication of vaccine situation, because the currently available Ervivo vaccine targets the ear strain, not Bundibugyo. WHO and African CDC have nevertheless facilitate allocation of more than 16,000 or 17,000 Ervivo doses to DRC for use in the response, while clinical researchers efforts evaluate their rules against the outbreak. But there is a lot of difficulties which we are facing in DRC, in fact, because DRC have no health care capacity and resources needed to contain outbreak of this high scale, particularly in remote and conflicted affected areas.
Dr. Magdy, now, how concerned are you about this specific strain, particularly, like you said, there's no widely approved vaccination specifically targeting this strain? So what medical precautions are being taken in order to at least slow down the spread of the strain and treat, to a certain extent, at least the symptoms of the virus?
Look for decrease the rate of transmission of that Bundibugyo strain, which is which having a very high transmission rate to even the neighboring countries. We have many things or many precautions like testing, and we have difficult to reach, and for and other febrile disease laboratory confirmation is therefore essential. So we need capacity, sample transport, more trained laboratory team for 24/7 testing. Also, the isolation. We need rapid isolation units close to communities, safe ambulance network, infection control supplies, and protection for health workers.
Right.
Even treatment, we need expanded treatment centers, supplies, trained clinicians, and clinical trials of candidate service. As you know, we are not, right now. There is no vaccine, therefore we depend heavily on early supportive care, fluids, electrolytes, oxygen management of shock, secondary infection, and origin complications. Also, we are supposed to focus on community engagement.
Yes.
Because local leaders, we need local leaders, survivors, community figures, and trusted health workers leading the response. Also, we can focus on health workers because, you know, many of health workers are among these of infected cases or dead cases. So we need something called PPE, which is personal protective equipment, vaccination, researches, protection, adequate salaries, security, and psychological support for that health work team.
Indeed.
In fact, we are facing a very massive pandemic problem, which needs cooperation of a global health regime, mainly Western health regime like USA and Europe health regimes for providing a donation and expertise to African continent and African CDC and health regime on DRC for more effective containment and strong and unique for a strong and unique strain of Ebola virus with Bundibugyo. So we need the cooperation and more surveillance systems and rapid response working together.
Indeed. Doctor, you mentioned an important issue, which is the call for cooperation by, the communities. Why is community trust so critical in controlling the spread of Ebola? Also, the World Health Organization and the Africa CDC are calling for this more community-led response. How important is the role of the community in this regard, especially with the current conditions in the country? Of course, we're seeing, the healthcare workers themselves, as you said, amongst the first to be infected, and they are facing serious working and financial difficulties, which is making the healthcare system even more vulnerable.
You hit the truth. In fact, there is supposed to be a community cooperation and coordination from a global healthcare system or regimes for African continent and African CDC to continue, because this is a pandemic, not an epidemic. It's a pandemic virus, and right now there is no currently widely effective vaccine for it. So it can be transmitted to any areas. Even the scale of fertility is upgoing. Has escalation very fast. So community cooperation is helping for containing that virus. And the problem in DRC in community issue is the fear and misinformation and distrust, which is causing delaying presentation and resistance to response team. So DRC in fact needs help from global healthcare system, donation of medical treatment or medical supplies, PPE, even financial problems, which is right now there is a problem in decreasing the financial resources to African continent, mainly in the health sector. So we need a lot of cooperation between countries together to contain or to keep that virus be controlled in very fast and short time, like which is reported by WHO that they watching that the next 100 days to see if it's increase in the transmission or decrease or be under control.
Dr. Magdy, now how important is cross-border cooperation as well, particularly given the population movement across the borders into other countries, neighboring countries? And we've also seen other countries like Uganda, which has managed to successfully, to a certain extent, contain the outbreak of Ebola in its country. What lessons do you see the DRC benefiting from the Ugandan expertise in this regard?
In fact, Ugandan health care system have capacity to make a surveillance and to control the transmission of that virus, because you know DRC have a board with Uganda geographically, but Uganda in fact they even they stopped the busing or movement of citizens from DRC to Uganda, and they control the transmission of that virus. Even there is already isolation and ready laboratory clinics, laboratory testing for those are coming from DRC. So in fact, they make a good job for this purpose. But the problem is not the Uganda itself. We have an Eastern Africa as a whole, and countries of African Horn. So may Uganda have a strong healthcare regime, but other countries we don't know if they have it or not. So WHO are concerning with that and do its best to call the international and global healthcare systems to cooperate for containing that new and unique strains of Ebola, which is Bundi Bujo. And God's grace, may they can make a good job and keep it under the control in that next few days or months.
Dr. Magdy, how realistic is the risk of the spread of this virus beyond the DRC to other African countries, even that don't share a border with the Democratic Republic of Congo?
In fact, the problem is when somebody infected with Ebola virus, there is a time that he doesn't know that he have infected with Ebola virus. So once the symptoms appear, it will be a focus for transmission. So when it travels from DRC to another country, not only Eastern Africa, but maybe Western Africa or South Africa or North Africa, that will be a focus area for spreading, more spreading of that virus. And the problem is this virus is transmitted very easily through the fluids of that infected cases. So, and the main problem in that strain is the rate of spreading is very fast than the Zaire strain. So, and the fertility of that virus is higher than the Zaire strain. As I mentioned before, 48% of infected cases have been died. So this this virus is very dangerous, in fact, and even right now they don't have a widely effective vaccine for it. So once it's, the infected cases have it, so it's very hard to make sure that this case will recover soon or be died.
Right.
So we're supposed to take all the international precautions to avoid the spread of that type of vaccine.
Right, right. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it at that. We have run out of time. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Magdy Adly, the Hospital Development Advisor to the Ministry of Health. Many thanks, Doctor, for your time and your insight. That wraps up today's edition of Voices of the Continent. Many thanks for watching.